This is CBC Here and Now.
Whale of a problem. The whale at Ettercoast has been in the water all day, but now it's on the beach and it looks like it's coming out. I'll tell you more coming up on Here and Now.
Plucked from the ice, a crab crew is rescued after their boat takes on water.
Grieving fathers. Two dads talk candidly about losing their sons.
And every morning, especially when I wake up, it hits really hard.
The system has failed our youth. And I certainly don't want to see other parents go through what we went through.
Does crime pay? A thief sues the province and gets a settlement.
As if you needed another reason to love Fridays, this next one is shaping up to be quite a beautiful day for the island. Some nice temperatures on the way. I'll have all the details coming up.
This is the crew of Avalon Princess being airlifted to safety early this afternoon off the Bayburt Peninsula.
The crab fishing boat out of Lassie started taking on water after being stuck in pack ice.
The captain of a nearby vessel, Jamie Matthews, witnessed the rescue.
The latest on that, the Coast Guard was there and airlifted the crew off the boat. They're all safe. And right now, I can't see the vessel right now. I can see the top of their spar buoys from their crab gear sticking up. That's it.
Then the two others are still stuck in the sea ice since leaving port yesterday morning.
Here's what he told me about why they took the risk.
Crab fishery's been open now since the middle of April, and boats are on the go and they're scraping over the grounds. And we've been 2 months now without income, myself and the crew. So, and then on the business perspective, you know, there's bills to pay, big, huge bills. So we got to get out and make money.
We're going to have more on this story, including my full interview with Jamie Matthews. That's coming up in about 30 minutes.
A grieving father says he's celebrating the life of his 14-year-old son. Matthew Sargent died when his canoe overturned on a lake near Gander.
CBC News sat down for an exclusive interview with his father, Gordon. Here now's Peter Cowan joins us live. So Peter, what is the father saying?
Well, Debbie, it was less than 3 weeks ago that Gordon watched his son die, unable to save him, but he says he's now accepted what happened. Gordon Sargent says his son Matthew was a risk taker, so it wasn't a surprise when Matthew climbed into a canoe with a few friends to go fishing on this pond near Gander.
He was wild. He was one of these people that loved to push it. He was, you know, that daredevil that never thought about it.
None of the boys was wearing life jackets. The wind came up, and when they turned the canoe, it flipped over. The boys were dumped into the icy water. 2 of them swam to shore. Matthew didn't make it. His father was there as they brought him to shore.
I really take it as a blessing that I had those immediate moments with my son there, just to tell him right away that I loved him and I'm going to love him forever, so that he could have a level of peace, knowing that right to the end I still hurt. The hurt is unbelievable. I didn't know there was a level of hurt in this world that, you know, I've lived through and I'm going to live through.
Even with that hurt, he doesn't have regrets. Sure, if he could go back, he would have made the boys wear life jackets, but he wouldn't have stopped Matthew from going out in that boat.
If I could do it all over, you know, I would encourage him to be who he was. It's who he was, and I would never want to have stifled that. Of course I want to bring him home. Of course I want him there. And every morning, especially when I wake up, it hits really hard.
He says it won't stop him from going in the water, but he does have a message he hopes other young people will hear.
Water safety is very important. We got to love the water. You know, it's not going to be long before I'm jumping in water again. It's something I always did with my kids and still want even my own children to pursue. But we do have to respect it.
Now, Gordon says it has been difficult and he's starting to find closure, but that's going to take some time. Reporting live, I'm Peter Cowan for Here and Now.
A certainly heartbreaking message for a father to have to deliver. In about 20 minutes, we'll hear more from Matthew Sargent's father, Gordon.
We turn from one grieving family to another. Now, Thunderheart Jakopich took his life 3 weeks ago. His family, including former Chief Simeon Jakopich, are devastated. Here and Now's Ryan Cook has more.
Thunderheart Jakopich sang in 2 languages. His parents beamed in the comments of his Facebook videos. They were proud of their boy, but he had his battles.
Thunderheart got involved with solvent abuse 2 years ago, and we voluntarily asked the Child and Family Services to assist us to find him a solvent abuse program for him, and later on it went off the rails.
He was sent to Grand Falls, Windsor, 860 kilometers from Natwashish, then to a rehab in Regina, 3,000 kilometers from home. They lost touch for weeks at a time. They worried about his whereabouts as he ran from group homes and rehabs. He came home after his 16th birthday, but was never the same. In May, he took his life. Thunderheart's situation is not unique. He had friends and cousins who went through the same thing, taken from their homes, removed from their culture. Now his father is calling for change.
I have my son, dead body, 6 feet under, buried in Natwashish today as we speak, which is never going to have a voice. And that voice, I'm going to have to carry that, and the burden I'm going to carry that the rest of our lives. But I think it's time that an inquiry should be done. What's been happening to Aboriginal youth. Child and Family Services is not the answer for our people.
Jakopich wants to see Aboriginal children kept in their communities with a bigger role given to elders. Of 936 residents in Natwashish, there are 60 children in care. Many of them are located in Newfoundland. Jakopich says foster children are seen as sources of income.
Our kids are not revenue. They're not mortgage payments that people call them in Goose Bay. Our Aboriginal youth, Indigenous youth have been called mortgage payments. And that's got to end. So I'm calling provincial governments, federal government to do an inquiry. What's happening to Aboriginal youth?
The Jakopich family will never hear their son strum his guitar again, only in videos. And his father says someone has to be held accountable.
He was on the way to the music world. And that was his dream, my son. But that dream killed by the system. They killed my son.
For Here and Now in St. John's, I'm Ryan Cook.
Sherry Gambin-Walsh, the Minister of Children, Seniors and Social Developments, reached out to CBC just a short time ago. She's offered condolences to the Jakopich family and says her department is working diligently to find innovative ways to collaborate with Indigenous people. A police sting operation, a thief caught breaking into cars, and a shot fired by an RNC officer as he tried to get away. There's news tonight that the province has settled a lawsuit related to that incident in 2014 after the thief accused the police of violating his rights. The CBC's Rob Antle has the details.
This was the scene more than 3 years ago. The RNC had staked out this parking lot, placing bait cars in the area as part of Operation Hoodwink, which was aimed at tackling thefts from vehicles on the Northeast Avalon. They caught this man, Justin Chipman, breaking into a car, stealing a laptop computer and a camera. When police confronted Chipman, he tried to get away, but his SUV got stuck in a snowbank. He spun the tires to try to free the vehicle, ignoring police efforts to stop him. This officer fired one shot before the SUV drove away. The bullet grazed Chipman's chest and elbow. He was not seriously injured. Chipman ended up pleading guilty to theft and was convicted of dangerous driving. But the judge tossed out 8 counts of assaulting a police officer, saying the RNC had used excessive force in trying to stop him. In 2015, Chipman sued for damages, pointing to that ruling by the judge and noting that the Crown didn't appeal, saying his charter rights had been violated. The province settled in late 2016. Neither side is saying how much money was involved, but a provincial cabinet order approved more than $250,000 to settle 2 lawsuits, Chipman's and another unrelated matter. There's no breakdown on the cost of the settlement of each case. Rob Antle, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, to a whale of a problem now, the rotting carcass of a humpback in Outer Cove has been an issue for weeks. Today, crews were on site trying to remove it. Here Now's Mark Quinn has been there all day. He joins us now live. So, Mark, what is the latest?
Well, Debbie, this whale has been here for 17 days, and it looks like today is the day this whale will actually be moved out of here. The whale is up on the beach, as you can see. It was in the water all day. They had trouble getting ropes around it, but they finally did, and they pulled it onto the beach. They now plan to get it up in that truck that you might be able to see on the bridge there, and eventually get it out to Sunnyside, where it will be disposed of. But I've got the mayor here today with me, Mr. John Kennedy, who's the mayor of Outer Cove, and welcome to the show. Tell us what happened here today.
Okay, this has been going on a little bit longer than what we had planned. We had a vessel here from Fisheries and Oceans and 2 from the Coast Guard, and they were responsible for getting a net around the whale to try and get it into shore. That took roughly 8 hours, which is why, like I said, we're a bit behind. But now the whale is on the beach, and in one form or another, it's going into that truck, and it'll be in Sunnyside sometime tonight.
It sounds like you'll be glad to see it go.
I can honestly say that it'll be the happiest time I ever see anything come off that beach yet.
So what's next for this whale?
Like I said, once it gets back into the semi, we've made arrangements with the hazardous waste site in Sunnyside. They have dug out a spot to put it that'll be lined with lime, and then it'll be covered in, like I said, this evening, and it'll be his final resting place.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for speaking with us. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Now, of course, this is no cheap operation. The mayor told me today earlier that it's going to cost tens of thousands of dollars. And of course, as all his equipment has been here all day, longer than expected, the cost has mounted. Hopefully, the province will kick in with some grants and cover some of the costs. But right now, the town of Outer Cove is on the hook for that money. Live in St. John's, live in Outer Cove, I'm Mark Quinn for Here and Now.
A company based out of Minnesota is advertising jobs it says are for the shuttered Wabush Mines property in Labrador West. According to its website, Takora Resources is looking to hire talent to go back to work on the Scully mine. The mine closed 3 years ago, throwing hundreds of people out of work. The mine is locked in creditor protection. Takora says it needs equipment, operators, electricians, and millwrights. The company isn't commenting on its ad.
The latest political poll suggests the Progressive Conservatives continue to have the most support among decided voters in the province. The poll from Corporate Research Associates suggests the Tories have 40% of support among decided voters. The governing Liberals have 34%. That's just a 1% change in support for each party since February. The New Democrats are down to 24% support, while 32% of voters are undecided. When it comes to party leadership, PC leader Paul Davis is most popular at 36%. Liberal Premier Dwight Ball has a very slight increase in support at 23%. And the NDP leader Earl McCurdy saw the biggest change with 16%, down 7 points. The poll was done by phone during much of May and into early June. It's considered accurate within 3.5%, 95 times out of 100.
Corner Brook's Charles Pender wants 4 more years as mayor. Pender announced today he will seek re-election in the upcoming September municipal election. He told supporters today he wants to help the city get an aquatic center and a new baseball field. He says now that he's retired from teaching, he can put more time into the job of being mayor. Pender says he's running on his record and believes that will help him defeat the only other declared candidate, businessman Jim Parsons.
People know that I've demonstrated proven leadership, that I get the job done in serving the needs of residents and the things that they want done. We've been able to do that over the last 4 years and in my previous term as well. We've transformed the city in the last 10 years, and I've been there for most of that. And I'm pretty proud of those accomplishments, and people still want to see more things done.
Yesterday, George Whalen was sentenced to 7 years in prison for impaired driving causing death. Whalen slammed his minivan into a car, killing 83-year-old Jane Newhook. Sadly, he's not the only one who's done this. Here Now's Peggy Lamb has that story tonight.
For the family of a drunk driving victim, court is rarely satisfying. George Whalen killed Jane Newhook last year. Her loved ones said they wanted a tougher sentence, but what they really want is their mother back.
It's still, there's so many moments and so many days when your mind says, oh, I gotta tell mom this, or I have gotta call mom, I've gotta, and then you're just stopped in your tracks.
Merle and Marilyn Shepard, also last year. Kiefer Frieda, 2 years ago. Nicholas Coates, 4 years ago. For any family, the impact is devastating.
She was actually just coming back from a trip around Alberta. And had we known that we wouldn't have had her for any more than 1 more month.
In the week that Whalen is sentenced for drunk driving, his is far from the only case in court. We took a look at the province-wide court dockets and counted. There are 92 impaired driving cases in courts this week. That's an average of 20 per day. Despite years of public education, it's still happening. Patricia Coates from Mothers Against Drunk Drivers says that she's not surprised.
I do know that it's not necessarily that the cases are increasing. I think that people are becoming more vigilant in their stand against impaired driving. So I think the general public are calling in more, bringing more awareness, and having these perpetrators taken off the road.
What is the key to stopping drunk drivers? Patricia Coates believes that those with prior convictions should have mandatory interlocking systems installed in their car. That means they have to prove they're sober before getting behind the wheel. Until they do that, their car won't start. Peggy Lamb, CBC News, St. John's.
A St. John's woman who lost one of her exotic birds in the rafters of Vancouver International Airport says she is forever grateful to the staff at WestJet for going above and beyond to catch her pet and see it safely across the country. Ebru Ozerkan was in British Columbia for a conference last week, and while there, she decided to purchase a pair of cockatiels, 2 brothers.
Well, the cage she had wasn't permitted on the return flight home, so she bought a travel case. And while she was transferring the birds into their new cage, one bolted and headed for the rafters. It took 2 days, but the airline staff managed to capture the cockatiel in a bin as it tried to fly out the front door of the airport. WestJet staff got the bird onto a plane and headed home to St. John's. And now, once again, everything is A-OK in Birdland. Thick sea ice continues to cause worry and financial headaches tonight. Later, we'll hear more from one of the boat owners from Lassie who is stuck at sea because of the ice.
This weather update is brought to you by the Take Charge Business Efficiency Program. Over 400 businesses have saved energy and taken charge of their bottom line. Find out how you can too.
A fairly pleasant day in our neck of the woods today, but before we get to the weather, we want to tell you about a grand time we had last night.
We had a great time.
For those of you who don't know, these lovely ladies next to me had a few hot dates last night.
Yeah, with each other and other people. We went to an event called the Blind Date with a Star. It's a fundraiser for the Provincial Learning Disabilities Association. So we were paired up with these two ladies here and another huge group of people. This is Avis in the middle. That's Suzette. And
Avis and their teachers. We were paired up with a group of them and the folks from Bugden's.
Yep.
And they match you up with a group, and then they send you to a particular restaurant. And we ended up at Pie last night.
Delicious.
It is the biggest fundraiser for the association, and there are over 50 participating restaurants. Pretty big deal. There's private venues, caterers, up to 500 guests, and they tell me this year they expect to net about $70,000.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing.
It
That's
is
incredible.
amazing. It's a wonderful, it's a big effort to take on, but it's a very classy event, and it's for a wonderful charity, of course. So.
And it was also very fun.
And you got to eat pizza.
And we got to eat pizza.
Okay.
Last night and for lunch today. Anyways, you know what else is really fun? The weather. Let's have a look at the weather, see what is on the way. So some cooler temperatures tonight mean that there's a risk of frost for much of the island. A nice warm day coming for the east finally. And as we get the warm day in the east, Lab West will see a cooling down. So I'll get to that a little bit later. First, these are the areas that are going to be affected by the frost advisory tonight, from St. Anthony right down to Port aux Basques over to Marystown in the interior. If you have any frost sensitive plants, you'll definitely want to bring them indoors tonight. So here in the east, we have a bit of precipitation, a little bit of drizzle that's going to come through during the evening, but then it's going to clear off by morning, and just some cloud cover really in Labrador overnight tonight. Not a whole lot to talk about there. Cool temperatures as well, 0 degrees in Nain. Cloudy skies, and you can see the temperatures on the island hovering around the freezing mark or on the freezing mark. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty chilly night. As for tomorrow, the island is looking actually great. There's going to be a little bit of cloud cover, but that is going to clear off. Labrador, however, will see some scattered showers throughout the day, starting around noontime in Labrador City and moving across to Happy Valley, Goose Bay. But overall, the island, really not much going on, actually. In St. John's, you're going to start your day with 2 degrees, mainly cloudy skies. It will warm up slightly to 12, but we'll see the sun, so it's probably going to feel warmer than 12, I find anyways. And then the sun will stick around into the evening, and temperatures will dip down a little bit. Here's a closer look at the temperatures for tomorrow. Cooler in Fairyland, 9 degrees with some sun and cloud. No rain or anything happening tomorrow. Clarenville will see a temperature of 15 degrees and a mix of sun and cloud. Moving now to central Newfoundland. Nice warm day for Grand Falls, Windsor and Gander. 18 degrees with a bit of cloud there. Much cooler in Twillingate. 8 degrees there. Of course, they have a lot of ice up there now affecting their temperatures. Moving on to the west coast, a beautiful day coming for Corner Brook, 22 degrees with lots of sun, and as well cooler along the coast, Port aux Basques getting up to about 11 degrees. In the Straits, a little bit cooler, but not a whole lot going on. There's not a lot of wind to talk about. It's just a bit of sun and some double-digit temperatures for the rest of Labrador along the coast. Some showers, some cooler temperatures, but nice and warm in Happy Valley, Goose Bay tomorrow. And as we go west to Labrador City, but that is going to change for Lab West. I know you've been enjoying all of this nice warm weather, but it is going to dip down a little bit at the very same time that the east is going to go up. So I'll tell you about that a little bit later. Debbie?
Thanks, Carolyn. Well, earlier in the program, Gordon Sargent spoke about the drowning death of his son Matthew last month. The 14-year-old died when the canoe he and his friends were in ran into rough water and tipped over. 2 of the boys swam to shore, but Matthew didn't make it. Here now is more of what Gordon Sargent had to say about his son Matthew to the CBC's Leanne Power.
Often in life, we don't realize what we have until it's gone. And I did realize, because of being his dad, what a precious, loving child he was, but certainly the outpouring of support, the stories that people have shared with us just showed me what an incredible person he was. And it's just part of sharing Matthew's story. It's all about keeping Matthew's spirit alive. He lived his life in a way that has truly inspired me as his dad. A lot of people talked about me being able to inspire them, but I have drawn and I continue to draw great inspiration from my son Matthew. I'm a man of faith that if people have seen has been demonstrated, and someone that has a strong belief in God, but my generosity can't approach Matthew's generosity in this world, because Matthew would give you whatever he had, where I'm going to give you some and keep some to make sure I'm going to plan ahead. Where Matthew, if someone needed his last $10, he would never think about giving it to them. It would just be given to him very naturally. That was who he was. He had no attachment with any of it. Give it all away for anybody that had it in need. So there's that perspective in terms of realizing the generosity that we can achieve and how it impacts the world. Just living life to the absolute fullest. As I said, he was wild. He was one of these people that loved to push it. He was, that daredevil that never thought about it. He was the kid that would take the jump the first time on his bike that everyone else set up the jump, but everyone else would look at it and wonder if it was safe, and Matthew was going to find out by taking the jump. The first one to jump off the cliff into the water, and that's how I fully supported him living. When he'd go out and do it, I just live it to the fullest, and he did. So, of course, I'm not a teenage boy, but in my own life, I can, we don't have to be scared about many things that stop us from moving forward in life and hesitate. It was just about to go live it in the moment and live it to its fullest. So that's just 2 of the small ways, and there's a few others that we might capture, but that's what I wanted to share. And my mindset was to celebrate Matthew's life and be his dad, which is one of the things I did best in the world.
Last night we told you the heartbreaking story of Angela Gregoire, who believes her son's life of upheaval led to his death. In a few minutes, we'll speak with a leader in Sheshatshiu who says the trauma she has gone through is not uncommon. Welcome back to Here and Now. Last evening, Angela Gregoire candidly shared the grief she's feeling over the death of her son. Now, 28-year-old Pierre Gregoire died of an overdose. He was found in the bathroom of a Toronto KFC restaurant on February 15th. Now, both Pierre and Angela shared similar paths. Both were placed in foster care at an early age, and both were assaulted by addictions. But how did mother and son end up in this situation? And what can be done to help out the Pierres and Angela out there? The CBC's Bailey White put those questions to social worker and Sheshatshiu Health Director Jack Panashaway. Now, they first started talking about intergenerational trauma.
Your strengths, your culture, your language, was forbidden, was wrong, and you were made to believe that it was not what you were supposed to be in terms of a First Nations person. And at the same time, also during that time of it being institutionalized, you were also being tortured, and you're also being traumatized, and you're also being abused in any word of the, in terms of physically, emotionally, spiritually, sexually. It's something that it's ingrained for some people, and it's hard to remove themselves from that past. And that's what happened to most people. And you remove a group of people and you set them aside and you put them somewhere else and you say what you were is wrong. And it's just like residential school. Some people, it's really hard to remove yourself from that idea because you've been involved in that cycle of mentality of abuse and trauma and all those kind of things. Sometimes, and I think the best analogy, I think, in terms of what one professional has said to me, is that, people are broken. Sometimes it's hard for people to get fixed. And sometimes there are too many pieces, and sometimes it's hard for people to be well or be, somewhat context normal. So, those kind of things. Like, for one, personally speaking, I came from a broken home. My parents were both alcoholics, very violent, but I'm here, and I've did some changes in my life due to the fact that I didn't really want to be in that position anymore. So I broke away from that. Hopefully, broke away from that idea about abuse, and but there are still young men like myself, or in the same age as I am, are still in that of mentality, and that they can't remove themselves, or they can't get away from that system, or can't get away from that trauma. And that's unfair, but that's how it is. Some people can't remove themselves because it's there've been so much trauma in their lives, and it's really hard to get away from that. We're aiming to devolve and run our own programs as we see fit, in terms of using the strength-based in terms of culture, language, the Nujamit, the lands, and everything else, because that's strength-based. And if you can keep the child in the home, why not?
Yeah.
Why do we need to remove the children from their homes?
I guess, and I think people are going to hear that. They're going to say, yeah, but they're not safe there. That's why.
Yeah, and then basically it's like, where are they safe then? Removing the children from their home, from their parents, from their language, from their culture, which is strength-based, and that's who they are as a person. And you remove them and you put them somewhere else in, say for Goose Bay, which is non-Innu, and they're going to try to speak English and everything else, and they're not going to be comfortable. And and so that is also unsafe in my eyes, because you're removing them from what they feel comfortable. And if you deal with the the parents in terms of their addiction and what is their issue, I would say about 95% of the time it's alcohol and drug related.
Right.
95% of the time, or even more.
And I think we've talked about this concept too of not removing the kids, but removing the parents and them going to treatment if it's not possible.
Exactly. That would be the best practice, I think, in terms of helping that child, because the child feels safe in the home, and the siblings, especially if there are siblings around, why would you want to disconnect that? Why would you want to take that away?
The message I'm taking away, though, from you is that there is hope, that it's not a hopeless situation if you do find yourself battling traumas and addictions and drugs, that it doesn't have to be hopeless.
It doesn't have to be, not at all. No, like I said, I'm one of the results of that. As I said before, if my father was alive, you know, he would tell you the story about what he did to me in terms of having his abuse. And I'm thankful that you know, that I had to confront him about that, and I had a good conversation with him about that in terms of when I became an adult. And I didn't realize the trauma that he also went through, and it was a generational trauma. And you know, when I heard his stories, it made a lot of sense. And basically, you know, when I was 21, 22, I broke away from that, and I dealt with it. But that doesn't make me any less or any perfect than anybody else. I'm just still dealing with it.
So we're looking live here at Outer Cove, and we'll be heading back there in about 3 minutes to get the latest on attempts to remove that dead humpback whale you see there on the beach.
All that thick sea ice covering parts of the island's coastline is once again causing problems. Next, we'll have the latest on boats out of the sea that are offshore and not going anywhere tonight.
We're going to go back down to Outer Cove now. That's where crews have been working all day trying to dispose of what's left of a dead humpback whale.
They appear to have had some success. Here now's Mark Quinn is on site. He joins us now live. Mark, what's next?
Well, Debbie, as you can see, that boom truck is down there on the beach. They're going to lift that whale up, hopefully, and put it on a truck that's going to come through that tunnel. You see that tunnel underneath the bridge there? They're going to back a truck through there, load that whale onto that truck, and take it to Sunnyside. That's the plan. Now, there are concerns that when the whale's picked up, it might break apart, so they lifted it partially and slid some chain link fence underneath it. They're hoping that will support it somewhat. They've got strapping around it, and there's the net there from when they brought it in from the ocean earlier today. The hope is that they can get out to Sunnyside. There's a disposal site there. They'll bury it there, and that'll be it for the whale. The mayor says it's going to cost tens of thousands of dollars. That may even be costing more now because it's taken longer than they expected. The real challenge, though, today was getting the whale onto that beach. And DFO was here today helping with that. They had nets. They had trouble getting that net around the whale. They tried unsuccessfully a few times. They had it up against the beach. They brought it back out into the water. They actually went to lunch and took a break and came back, and that's when they were able to wind that net around the whale and drag it up onto the beach, and that's where it is now. And of course the mayor and everyone here is hoping it'll get out today. They're saying they'll stay until it's done, even after dark if they have to. There's someone at Sunnyside waiting to receive the whale, so they're hoping to get it out there, here tonight and reopen this road that's been closed since 8 o'clock this morning. It's closed until at least 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, but hopefully it'll be done and that'll reopen today. There's been some traffic coming through and they haven't been able to get through, and people are a little upset about that. It's hard to get through here today. So live in Outer Cove, I'm Mark Quinn for Here and Now.
It's quite the operation there. And speaking of an operation, we told you earlier, several fishing vessels have been stuck in ice off the sea on the northeast coast since shortly after they left port yesterday around noon.
It's the latest in what's been a very frustrating spring for fishermen. The season should have started weeks ago, but the thick, heavy ice choking many bays has prevented them from leaving port.
Jamie Matthews is the skipper of the Sean and Evan, and I reached him earlier. So Jamie, what is the situation right now?
Right now we're just stuck in the ice. Can't move, waiting for assistance.
Tell us about the boat that was taking on water. What's the latest on that?
The latest on that, the Coast Guard was there and airlifted the crew off the boat. They're all safe. And right now I can't see the vessel right now. I can see the top of their spar buoys from their crab gear sticking up. That's it.
So she's just about gone?
Yes, yeah.
That's an awful lot of material, a lot of gear and everything that's just gone under, hey?
Oh, God, yes, yes. Yeah, hundreds of thousands.
What about your vessel and the other two? How much danger are you in?
Oh, we're okay. We're stuck in the ice. We're stuck in the ice, but we're not in no danger here.
Yeah.
Not at the moment, anyway.
So why do you think this other vessel, what's the name of that one that's gone down?
Avalon Princess is the name of the vessel.
Yeah. So why do you think this one got into this kind of trouble?
I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe struck a pan a bit awkwardly or something. I don't know. Punched a hole in her. I don't know. It might have been something totally different altogether, but that's what I'm assuming.
Yeah. So Jamie, why did you decide to go out in the first place and potentially put yourself, your enterprise at risk?
Well, I mean, the crab fishery's been open now since the middle of April, and boats are on the go, and they're scraping over the grounds, and we've been 2 months now without income, myself and the crew, so, and then on the business perspective, you know, there's bills to pay, big, huge bills, so we got to get out and make money.
So you thought that at the time you could make it out somehow through all that ice?
We did, yeah. We went on the lookout here yesterday morning and looked out, and we could see water like through the ice. So we thought we could wiggle our way out through it after a while. You know, we knew it was going to be slow, but we thought we could wiggle our way out through it. And like I said, we're desperate, so we had to try. We had to give it a try.
And I guess there's concern about soft crab coming up soon, isn't there?
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, well, that concern is always there, you know. Happens every year. I don't know how much been on the go here. I haven't heard much about it the year, but there are 5 grids closed down now. But I haven't heard no reports of a lot of stuff. I don't know, but the fear is there.
So, Jamie, how many crew members do you have on board? You say you haven't had any income in weeks and weeks. How many are affected by this?
There's 5 families here. There's myself and 4 crew members aboard this one, and every boat is about the same. 5 and 6 fellows on her. 5 and 6 families per boat, you know.
So frustration has probably turned, as you said, to desperation.
Yeah, of course it has, yes. It has. It's to the point now that we got to try, you know.
There is a call for some sort of compensation, ice compensation, because of these extreme conditions. Is that something that you're hoping for?
Yes, of course. Of course, fishermen need it. Not only fishermen, I mean, as a ripple effect, right? Just fishermen, plant workers, offloading crew, truck drivers, you name it, you know. The list goes on. And here in Lassie, there hasn't been a pound landed here the year. Not 1 pound of fish landed here the year on account of ice. So, yes, this short-term ice compensation, that'd be great. That would help out a lot of families personally. You know, your personal expenses. However, on the business perspective side of things, like I got a boat here to run, not so much. I got to get fishing. You know, and even personally, we got to get fishing. That's good for short term. Yes, we definitely need it. But for long term, we got to get fishing.
Just on a final point, Jamie, the Coast Guard is prepared once they're able to get to you guys to bring you back to port, but not to open water. What do you think of that?
That's the last report I got. Yeah, I know personally, I feel that, and I could be wrong, you know, but personally, I feel she's able to take us to open water. Now, correct me, like I said, correct me if I'm wrong. That's my personal opinion.
And
so,
then you would...
I mean, we could see the edge of the water there yesterday. It don't look like it's very far away. Now, the Coast Guard is saying there's a lot of ice pressure on the ice. That's why they're not coming in to take us out. Like I said, personally, I think they can, but they're saying they can't, so...
And the hope would be if they could take you out, you would get your crab and land it in some open port.
Yes.
Well, Jamie Matthews, thanks very much for speaking with me, and hopefully your situation doesn't get more risky. And thanks again.
All right, Debbie, thank you.
Well, as you heard there, fishermen are frustrated that the ice is interfering with their ability to go fishing. Well, we have an update on that tonight. Federal Fisheries is extending the snow crab season in one area in response to this year's heavy ice conditions.
So there will be a 15-day extension to the snow crab fishery along the northeast coast of the island and southern Labrador. But there's still no word if Ottawa will approve extending EI benefits to fishermen or offer any other compensation.
The weather update is brought to you by Belltone Hearing Service St. John's, helping the world hear better.
And just another note on that, I was talking to Environment Canada today, and they were telling me that on Friday some southwesterly winds will be coming in and of course helping that situation a little bit, and that will continue on the weekend. So he described it as an improving trend. So hopefully that
Hopefully
will,
a little bit of good news for those fishermen.
Absolutely. So let's get right to the weather. Going to start with some current temperatures right across the country. What a difference between St. John's and pretty much everywhere else. We're sitting at 7 degrees right now. Lovely temperatures across the country. Of course, I mentioned earlier we have a frost advisory in effect for these areas tonight. So some chilly temperatures will be affecting those areas. And overnight tonight, there's going to be some precipitation in the east that will move out overnight. Fairly clear in Lab City and right across Labrador, a bit of cloud cover, but that will change tomorrow morning when some showers will move in. It's going to be a lovely day on the island tomorrow. Very cool, but clear. At least we have that. So those scattered showers will persist on Thursday throughout Labrador there. So here's a look at some of the temperatures. Lab City, you can see they may have showers, but at least it's still nice and warm there. Cooler along the coast, 12 degrees in Nain, and some decent temperatures on the island. Corner Brook will see 22 degrees tomorrow, but just 12 degrees in St. John's tomorrow. So looking at Friday, so we're going to be seeing some showers continue across Labrador. Friday is going to be gorgeous. It's shaping up that way anyways. The island, you can see how clear it is. We're going to see some sunshine. Those southwesterly winds are going to bring up some nice warm air, and it's going to get up to about 23 degrees. But then we have this guy coming Friday night. So that is going to affect our Saturday, unfortunately. But like I said, Friday is going to be really nice. So if you get a chance to get out and enjoy it, please try to do that, because some showers will be moving in on Saturday. So here we are, 23 degrees in the east for Friday. 27 in central Newfoundland, that's great. And on the west coast, 25. Still warm in eastern Labrador on Friday, 21 degrees, but cooling down for sure in Lab West there with some showers as well. So Friday night into Saturday morning, the system will come through. It's a pretty fast moving system. So here we are at Friday at 11 p.m. It'll push on through until Saturday morning, and then by Saturday afternoon at about 2 o'clock, is what we're at here. It's just going to move off, so we'll be looking at a nicer Saturday night, but it will be much cooler again on Saturday. We'll go back down to 13 degrees with some showers, 16 in central, 15 on the west coast with showers, some sun and cloud, and much cooler temperatures in Labrador than they've been used to lately. So then things start to pick up again on Sunday. So Saturday night into Sunday looking like it's going to be quite nice, and then we get some nice clear skies beginning the work week there, and some nice double-digit temperatures. A bit cooler in Labrador there. That cooling trend will continue throughout the week there with some showers.
Cue the music. You know what that means. Time to meet our young athlete of the day, who is 7-year-old Noah Mugford. Noah is from Happy Valley Goose Bay. He enjoys hockey, judo, soccer, and swimming.
So this picture was taken at a recent hockey tournament, and you can see by the size of that smile on his face just how much he loves the game.
Yes, way to go, Noah. Congratulations on being chosen as our young athlete of the day.
Welcome back to Here and Now. In international news tonight, a Myanmar military plane went missing today during a domestic flight. It was carrying 120 people, including soldiers, family members, and the crew. The military says the plane left a coastal town and was headed over the Andaman Sea to the city of Yangon. Ships and planes are now scouring the coast of southern Myanmar. Officials say weather and visibility were good when the plane took off.
Back in Canada, former U.S. President Barack Obama was able to set aside some time during his short trip to Montreal last night to grab dinner with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. The bromance continued as they dined at a popular restaurant in the city's southwest end. The two met up after Obama's speech to the Montreal Chamber of Commerce. Now, security around the restaurant was heavy while they reconnected inside. Meanwhile, the crowds who waited for hours to catch a glimpse of the two men got a chance to see a little heartwarming embrace before the two parted ways.
The Liberal government is set to spend additional billions on Canada's armed forces. Today, the Defence Minister laid out a blueprint for the future of the military.
The women and men who wear the uniform of the Canadian Armed Forces are at the heart of this policy. This policy is about them.
Harjit Sajjan announced a 70% increase to the defense budget over the next 10 years. The military will also get a bit bigger with the addition of 5,000 troops to the regular and reserve forces. Sajjan went on to say the Navy will get 15 new advanced warships. There's nothing quite like waking up from a good sleep and hearing your favorite song.
And when it happens, you just got to dance like I do most mornings and just like this baby's doing now.
The little boy's mom says he'd listen to this song all day if he could, and given his reaction here, yeah, he'd probably having a great time the entire time.
We're talking about rocking out. Just have a look at this cool picture.
Beautiful.
Just turn your head to the side, and what do you see?
Like a gorilla face?
It's like a skull. This is in Brighton. So yeah, it's like an eerie lobster pot guard.
Look at the reflection.
Yes,
hey, it's
beautiful
super
picture.
fabulous. Thanks, Karen. And thanks to you, everyone, for joining us. Have a great night, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Night.